Picture this, a packed university auditorium. 500 students crammed into seats meant for 300, another 50,000 watching online, all of them waiting to see if a Muslim professor can do the impossible, prove God exists using nothing but logic and science. Dr. Omar Ali, a Black American pharmaceutical scientist, published researcher, the man with striking hazel eyes and an even sharper mind, stands at the front. No PowerPoint, no props, just a whiteboard and undeniable reason. He looks at the crowd of skeptics and says, "By the end of this hour, you'll have one of two conclusions. Either I've proven that belief in Allah is rational certainty, or I've failed publicly and you can dismiss everything I stand for. Let's find out which one it is." What happened next got 15 million views in 3 days, sparked debates at universities worldwide, and led to unbelievable changes. Before we dive into this story, if you would like to see more amazing stories that are presented with intellectual rigor and logic, subscribe to this channel right now and hit that notification bell. Now let me tell you the story of the night Dr. Omar Ali broke the internet. But to understand what happened in that lecture hall, you need to know who Dr. Omar Ali really is and why he decided to take this risk in the first place. Because this story doesn't start with viral fame. It starts in Detroit, Michigan, with a young man who almost lost his faith entirely. Dr. Omar Ali grew up in Detroit, Michigan. His grandmother used to take him to the mosque every Friday, but by the time he entered college to study pharmaceutical sciences, he'd become what he called a cultural Muslim, someone who identified as Muslim but didn't really practice or understand why he believed. Then, during his doctoral research on molecular biology, something changed. He started asking the questions his atheist professors couldn't answer. How does blind random mutation produce the breathtaking complexity of DNA? How does purposeless evolution create purpose-driven organisms? By the time he earned his PhD and became a professor at a major American university, Dr. Omar had transformed from a cultural Muslim into someone with rock-solid certainty in Allah's existence, not through blind faith, but through scientific observation and logical reasoning. But here's what bothered him. Most of his students, future pharmacists, chemists, biologists, walked into his class thinking that being scientific meant rejecting God. They thought faith was for people who couldn't handle reality. They thought believing in Allah was like believing in fairy tales. And Dr. Omar decided he had to do something about it. It started during a regular lecture on drug molecular structures. One of his brightest students, Jake, raised his hand and said something that made the whole class go silent. "Professor Ali, I respect you, but I don't understand how someone as smart as you can believe in God. Science deals with what we can observe, measure, and test. God isn't tangible. There's no empirical evidence. Shouldn't we, as scientists, only believe in what we can prove?" The class erupted in murmurs. Some students nodded in agreement, others looked uncomfortable. A few Muslim students in the back looked down at their desks, unsure how their professor would respond. Dr. Omar put down his markers slowly. He looked at Jake with those hazel eyes, then scanned the entire lecture hall. Finally, he spoke. "Jake, that's an excellent question, and I'm glad you asked it, because next week I'm going to do something I've never done before. I'm going to deliver a special lecture, and I'll live stream it on social media so that everyone can watch. The title will be, Why Believing in God is the Most Scientific Position You Can Hold. I'm going to prove to you, using nothing but logic, reason, and the same scientific methodology we use to develop pharmaceuticals, that belief in Allah is not only rational, it's the only position that makes sense. And if I fail, I'll admit it publicly." "Deal?" Jake sneered. "Deal, Professor. I'll be there." Dr. Omar didn't just announce the lecture in class. He posted about it on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. The announcement went viral overnight. Pharmaceutical professor claims he can prove God exists using science and logic. Live lecture Friday, 7 p.m. The comments exploded. Atheists mocked him. Muslims were nervous. What if he embarrassed them? Scientists from other universities started sharing the post, some excited, others skeptical. By Friday afternoon, the university lecture hall was packed beyond capacity. Over 500 students showed up, Not just from his class, but from across campus and even neighboring universities. The live stream had 50,000 people waiting before he even started. Dr. Omar walked onto the stage in his usual crisp white shirt, black slacks, and a simple silver ring. No fancy presentation, no PowerPoint full of complex equations, just him, a whiteboard, and undeniable logic. This is what he said. Dr. Omar started with something unexpected. Before I prove anything, let me clear up a massive misunderstanding, one that even confuses many Muslims. There is a place for submission in Islam, but it's not where you think. In Islam, we distinguish between two categories: rational certainties and detailed legislation. Rational certainties are truths any thinking person can arrive at through observation and logic, like the existence of God, the impossibility of the universe creating itself, the necessity of a first cause. These don't require blind faith, they require thinking. They're demonstrable facts. Then there are detailed laws, prayer times, fasting rules, dietary restrictions. This is where submission comes in. Once you've rationally proven that a law exists and the Quran is His word, then you submit to His commands, even if you don't fully understand the wisdom behind every detail. But notice the order: proof first, then submission. You don't submit to prove God exists, you prove God exists, and then you submit because it's the rational thing to do. He turned to write on the whiteboard: rational proof, then submission. The Quran says in Surah Al-Hujurat, "The believers are only those who believed in Allah and His Messenger and then did not doubt, not probably believed, not hoped it was true, zero doubt. And you can only have zero doubt through certain knowledge, not emotional guessing." Jake raised his hand. "Okay, Professor, but how do you get to zero doubt about something you can't see?" Dr. Omar smiled. "Excellent question. Let me show you." He walked to the center of the stage. "Look around this room. You exist. The chairs exist. The air exists. The atoms that make up your body exist. Now here's the billion-dollar question: how?" The Quran poses this exact question in Surah At-Tur. Were they created by nothing, or were they themselves the creators? Let's think through this scientifically. For you to exist right now, there are only three possible explanations. He wrote on the whiteboard: Option 1, nothing created you. Option 2, you created yourself. Option 3, something else created you. Let's analyze each one like scientists. Option 1, nothing, literal non-existence, zero, emptiness, somehow produced you. Jake, in pharmaceutical chemistry, can zero reactants produce a product? Jake shook his head. No, you need substrates to produce anything. Exactly. Nothing has no power, no properties, no existence. Nothing creates nothing. Option 1 is scientifically impossible. Option 2, you created yourself. You somehow brought yourself into being before you existed. Dr. Omar paused for effect. Think about how absurd this is. Before you existed, you weren't there to do anything. It's like saying a drug synthesized itself before the chemist, the lab, or the raw materials existed. It's not just unlikely, it's a logical impossibility. Even right now, with your full consciousness and abilities, Jake, can you extend your life by 1 second? Can you prevent yourself from aging? Can you stop your inevitable death? Jake shifted uncomfortably. No. If you're powerless over your continued existence, how could you have possibly caused your initial existence when you didn't even exist yet? Option 2 is logically impossible. That leaves option 3, an external cause with power and will brought you into existence. There are no other options. These 3 cover every logical possibility. 2 are demonstrably impossible. Only 1 remains. This isn't complicated philosophy. This is basic scientific reasoning. Eliminate the impossible, and whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. Isn't that what Sherlock Holmes taught us? The lecture hall was dead silent. Every eye was fixed on Dr. Omar. A student named Sarah raised her hand. "But Professor, my parents created me." Their parents created them. Maybe it traces back to the first humans, or the first cell, or the Big Bang. Why does the chain have to stop? can't causes just go back forever? Dr. Omar nodded. Brilliant question, Sarah. This is called infinite regress, the idea that causes go back infinitely with no beginning. Let me show you why that's impossible using something you all understand. Imagine you want to watch a show on Netflix tonight. The students laughed. Everyone in that room had Netflix. You try to log in, but you get an error message, account issue, contact admin for approval. So you contact the admin. He says, I can't approve you until my manager approves me. His manager says, sorry, I need my manager approval first. His manager says the same thing, and this chain continues infinitely. There's no one at the end who has the authority to just say yes. Question, do you ever watch your show? The students shook their heads. Never. You're stuck in an eternal waiting loop. Every person in the chain is waiting for someone else, and because there's no one at the top with the power to initiate approval, the process never begins. Now here's the key. If all of a sudden your request got approved and you're right now watching Netflix, you know with absolute certainty that the chain stops somewhere. Someone had the authority to approve access without needing anyone else's permission. Dr. Omar turned to face the audience directly. The universe is the same. Every top cosmologist now agrees the universe had a beginning. It hasn't always been here. Dr. Alexander Vilenkin, the director of the Institute of Cosmology at Tufts University, said it himself. The proof is now in place. The universe had a beginning, and again, anything that begins needs a cause. The universe exists. You exist. Reality exists. Sarah, you're sitting in that chair right now. That means the chain of causes cannot be infinite. It must terminate at a first cause who exists without needing a prior cause. A being who has the power to bring things into existence without depending on anything or anyone else. This first cause is what we call God. Jake shot his hand up immediately. But Professor, if everything needs a creator, who created God? Checkmate. Dr. Omar smiled. He'd been waiting for this. Jake, that question sounds clever, but it reveals a fundamental misunderstanding of what I just proved. I didn't say everything needs a creator. I said everything that begins to exist needs a creator. Things that transition from non-existence to existence, you, me, this building, the universe, require a cause. But the first cause, by definition, never began to exist. It's eternal, no beginning, no end. If it had a beginning, it would need a cause, and then it wouldn't be the first cause. It would just be another link in the chain. Do you see the difference? Jake nodded slowly. Let me put it another way. Why can't the chain go back forever? Because then nothing would exist. But things do exist. So there must be a stopping point. A being that exists necessarily, not contingently. A being whose existence is part of its very nature. The Quran captures this beautifully in Surah Taha. Our Lord is He who gave everything its creation, then guided it. Allah is the one who gives existence. He doesn't receive existence from anyone. His existence is foundational. It's the ground upon which all other existence stands. Asking, who created God, is like asking, what does the color blue taste like? It's a category error. It applies the rules of contingent existence to a necessary being. God, by definition, is uncreated. That's what makes him God. Dr. Omar walked back to the whiteboard. So we've established that there must be an eternal first cause, but Jake, Sarah, all of you, you're scientists. You know that effects tell you about their causes. So what can we know about this creator just from looking at creation itself? When you see a breathtaking building, you conclude the architect was skilled. When you read a profound book, you conclude the author was intelligent. When you play an amazing video game on your phone, you conclude the programmers were talented. The creation tells you about the creator. So what does this universe tell us about its creator? He started writing attributes on the board as he explained, Power, Al-Qadir. The universe exists on a massive scale. Billions of galaxies, each with billions of stars. In pharmaceutical terms, imagine synthesizing not one drug molecule, but literally everything. All matter, all energy, all space-time, from absolute nothing. That requires unimaginable power. Will, al-Murad. The universe didn't have to exist. There's no scientific law that requires existence. Its existence is a choice, not a necessity. This indicates the Creator has will. He chose to create. Knowledge, al-alam, from the precise orbit of electrons around atoms to the exact gravitational constant that prevents galaxies from flying apart, the universe operates on staggeringly complex mathematical laws. In my field, we study drug receptor binding, molecular keys fitting into locks with nanometer precision. That's impressive. But this? He gestured broadly. The entire universe is calibrated to unimaginable precision. This indicates profound, infinite knowledge. Wisdom, al-hakam. Everything has purpose and function. The sun provides energy. Water has unique properties that sustain life. High heat capacity, expansion when freezing, perfect solvent properties. The atmosphere shields us from radiation. In pharmaceutical design, we call this rational drug design, purpose-driven creation. The universe is the ultimate rational design. Life, al-hayy, the lifeless cannot give life. You can't extract consciousness from unconscious particles. You can't derive purpose from purposeless matter. If the first cause weren't alive in the highest sense, how could living, conscious beings emerge? Dr. Omar turned to face his students. When you combine all these attributes, eternal, self-existing, all-powerful, all-knowing, wise living, this is what Islam calls Allah. Not a distant cosmic force, not an impersonal energy, but a creator who possesses perfect attributes. Dr. Omar's voice grew quieter, more personal. Let me bring this all together. Everything I've shown you tonight isn't guesswork, it's not probability, it's not an emotional leap. It is rational certainty built on 5 unshakable foundations. He pointed to what he'd written on the board. 1. Nothing cannot create something. Non-existence has no power. 2. You cannot create yourself. You didn't exist to do so. 3. Infinite regress is impossible. It would mean nothing exists, but you clearly do exist. 4. Therefore, an eternal first cause must exist, one that doesn't need a cause. 5. This Creator's attributes are evident everywhere in creation: power, knowledge, wisdom, life. The Quran says in Surah Al-Jathiyah, "Indeed, in the heavens and earth are signs for the believers, and in your creation and what He has dispersed of creatures are signs for people who are certain." Notice the word certain. Not people who hope, not people who guess, people who are certain. Dr. Omar's hazel eyes scanned the room, making eye contact with students across the hall. Here's the beautiful truth. You don't need a PhD like mine to recognize your Creator. You don't need to be a philosopher or even particularly religious. You just need to look at the world around you, think about how you came to exist, and be honest with yourself about what the evidence points to. The Quran asks in Surah Ali, "Is there any doubt concerning Allah, creator of the heavens and earth?" It's a rhetorical question, as if to say, how can you possibly doubt the builder when you're standing inside his building? How can you doubt the author when you're reading his book? How can you doubt the Creator when you yourself are living, breathing evidence of His power? When Dr. Omar finished, the lecture hall was silent for what felt like an eternity. Then, slowly, someone started clapping. Then another. Then the entire auditorium erupted in applause, even from students who came in as skeptics. Jake stood up. His voice cracked slightly as he spoke into the microphone someone handed him. "Professor Ali, I came here tonight expecting to debunk you. I had a whole list of counter-arguments prepared, but..." He paused. "I've got nothing. Everything you said was just logic, pure reason. I can't argue with it because there's nothing to argue with. It's just true." Sarah raised her hand. "Professor, I've been an atheist my whole life. My parents are atheists. But tonight, you didn't just give me reasons to believe in God. You showed me I'd have to deny reason itself to remain an atheist. And I can't do that. I'm a scientist. I follow evidence." Over the next few weeks, something remarkable happened. The video went viral, 15 million views in 3 days. Comments poured in from around the world. Atheist professors challenged him to debates. Muslim students started approaching Dr. Omar, saying they'd been cultural Muslims their whole lives but never understood why they believed until now. Today, Dr. Omar Ali continues teaching pharmaceutical sciences, but he also gives talks at universities across the country on the rational foundations of Islamic belief. His message is always the same. Faith in Allah isn't jumping into darkness, it's opening your eyes to the light that's been there all along. It's not abandoning reason, it's using reason to arrive at the only conclusion that makes sense. You weren't an accident, you weren't a cosmic fluke. You were created on purpose by a creator who gave you life, consciousness, and the ability to know him through your intellect and your innate nature. And that's not faith in the sense most people use the word. That's certainty, that's knowledge, that's standing on the firmest ground any rational being can stand on. Because in the end, every molecule, every cell, every galaxy is a signature, and that signature says, Allah.